Start. Okay, so I'm gonna start the recording. Yeah.
So let's see, calling the meeting to order, it's 6:04 PM. Go do a roll call, Amir Mulafagi, present.
Ahmed Fellerman, present.
Jeff Gunderson, present.
Andy Ravel, present.
All right, we're potentially gonna have Mr. Shamberg join us a bit late. So, let's see, first thing, approval of the consent calendar.
I looked it over, I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Aye.
All the ayes?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Okay, next we have public comments. Do we have any? And then we will board member reports and comments. Yeah, we want. So,
I don't think I have any or talked to anybody who had interesting ideas that I should pass along, so I think I'll pass.
Yeah, same here. No,
All right.
nothing to report.
okay. Same?
Yeah.
All right. Next we'll go to director's oral report.
Okay, thank you. Few things just to highlight for you, the board. Today, we went through, well, in the past, we went through a librarian one recruitment process. And today we sent out an offer letter. So, assuming they'll accept, and we'll see how that goes. So hopefully the next meeting we'll have an announcement for the candidate.
Great.
So I'm I'm pretty confident that they'll accept, so. That's good. Kind of on a service front, just to make you aware, now we have Marin Municipal Water District passes for people to check out and use at the library. So you kind of come in whenever you want, get a pass, just like our state park passes. We also just have a new little program we started. We have a volunteer from Redwood who's helping us tutor math. And he's kind of coming in and he just wanted to do it. And he's had a couple successful sessions. A couple kids have stopped by. So that's been kind of just a nice experimental thing.
Can I say something about that? Can we make sure that the Larkspur Foundation has a name of this volunteer for their Heart of Larkspur celebration that's coming up soon?
I think so. Would there be anything that we should get like the parental permission before that? Would you think, or like,
Well,
or we could ask?
what we can do is that we can ask the foundation to drop an invitation here. And then you can give it to him. It's an invitation to show up at the thank you for the volunteers.
Oh, okay. Is he a nominee?
Well,
Or just everyone?
anybody who volunteers around Larkspur is invited to the Heart of Larkspur celebration every year.
Oh, to attend the celebration.
to attend.
Okay.
And it's just,
That's okay.
it's just a get together of various community support groups and it's
I don't know if we have a underage participant in class, but it's a certain. Well, please.
he's a volunteer.
Yeah,
You could find out pretty
it's like,
easy.
I went last year, I
Well-
saw you last year, and what a lot of the what they do is they reach out to a lot of organizations and say, hey, we're doing this event, do you have a couple of people you'd like to send? Like, I got it, my Little League board president was like, hey, I'd love to have you go to this, like, so it's very informal in that
Yeah,
regard.
Oh, okay.
it's a way to just say thank you for people who actually volunteer around Larkspur. So I'll make a note and I'll ask the person who did it to drop. Can I have it in first name?
I'd have to look it up. I actually can't remember it right now.
He was featured in the Friends of the Library, right?
I think so.
In the newsletter.
No, that was Jake.
Oh,
He's a
yes,
worker.
that was Jake. Oh,
Yeah.
Jake now is hired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get you the name
Okay.
tomorrow. Sorry.
How
So
did this high school student find this to do it?
He volunteered from Redwood. Do you know they have their required hours? And then
Yeah.
we were just talking about impactful ideas for volunteers beyond just shelving or cleaning. And I thought, well, let's just maybe see if anyone wants to tutor. And he loves math and helping people and just, even though his first session might have been, not that stressful, but it doesn't go as planned because you're not in control who comes. And he came back and wanted to keep doing it. He just likes helping you.
It's really great.
I
So-
love that.
I do
And
too.
where is it? Is it posted in there? Like,
It's on our flyer. We put it on Instagram, kind of some of our normal, but then we didn't want too many people. Because he's
Yeah.
only one.
Yeah,
And some of the other libraries have more structured team tutoring programs. This was kind of informal, it's more
and
like,
his is more like tutoring hours, like kind of office hours, so to speak, like he'll
So-
be here from
like,
Tuesday from 4 to 6.
like Saturday, I think it was Saturday. I'm gonna be off on the hours, but for a couple hours on Saturday.
Love that.
Which is great, for both people, as a mentor
Yep.
opportunity to be a tutor,
Awesome.
so. And he loves being here too. I think he likes just being in the library space.
good, all right, I talked to
Uh,
Teresa, I'll get his name.
Okay.
His first name,
I love
Teresa, and I'll make sure the
Good.
foundation drops up an invitation for him, because we need to.
We should definitely let, if we have success with it,
Mhm.
like definitely let, whether it's the high school or whomever, 'cause I think that's really cool.
One of our librarians, well, partially they found out because one of our librarians, Jess, went over to Redwood. And just to connect and, and put the flyer up in Redwood. And that's how the students saw the tutoring opportunity. So it was actually through Redwood how they found out.
Great.
Kind of-
That's, hopefully it's contagious.
Yeah,
Anything that
Think about the new building with the little rooms and everything.
closer to Redwood.
being able to connect people together and learn. I mean,
That's the pool of people you want. That are hard to get.
Were we not just
Indeed.
talking about
Yeah.
my son
Yes.
working with a high school kid in math? It's great.
and I'll give you kind of one little weird negative news we had is, downstairs how we have the flyers and the displays.
Mhm.
Last Monday came in and they were all removed. All the tax forms, someone took, probably 100 tax forms, and then we put it up again and they were removed Tuesday. And then we identified the individual, was out in their car, contacted law enforcement, and so. If we're kind of seeing, and then they returned Friday. They wanted to take stuff, but we said no. So we're kind of monitoring the situation out there if it looks a little desolate and just seeing. Because it's not per se illegal to take all our flyers, but. You don't want, that's not right either. At some point it becomes vandalism. And they took down everything off the bulletin boards, like our Larkspur sign.
Was there a reason given
I-
when confronted?
We didn't have enough proof to, say what the, you kind of know, but you didn't have the actual proof. They think they wanted to distribute it to themselves to the other members of the community. I think they might have had some challenges in their life.
Mind is fragile.
And so we're just monitoring it down there and hope, because we were talking with the friends about how to improve it, put out things. So that's why it looks a little bare and down there, so.
Tax forms.
That's so
That's interesting.
bizarre.
And we, and all the flyers that were up, so. Anyway, just wanted to pass that along to you because. But again, it went well. I think she was just a confused person more than
Yeah.
anything. Belligerent. So I think that was all, my director's oral report. We've had a few other programs. Cherry Yoga's been successful and the other things, but that's kind of the highlights.
Thank you. Any
Yeah.
questions?
You talked already about the hiring process, so. Thank you.
Did you have a large pool of people who applied for that job?
I was surprised we had 33 librarians who applied from across the country. For our cert supervisor, which doesn't require a degree, we got 8.
Wow.
So the 33 really threw.
Uh-huh.
We did require if you were gonna get your degree in May, you could apply. So I think we had a lot of people who are in school currently at San Jose and applied and saw the opportunity because we had a lot more Central Valley people than I would have maybe thought. But if this candidate's from the Bay Area,
We have interns from San Jose State's Library School with us at the Art Students Archives, and I'm always encouraging them that there are jobs out there, just pursue, here's how to go about navigating that. So it's interesting to hear that there were 33 for that and 8 for the paraprofessional job.
yeah, it's a good, it's always good to, apply and go through the process, so.
Moving on to business items. Communications update.
Okay, so we almost got the draft MailChimp newsletter, this group we're working with, so we got a final draft, and I think we're gonna do one more revision, and then we should be able to launch in May. So I'm very excited about that, so I'll share that with you when we're close, but I got the outline, and gotta learn MailChimp a little bit. We've got the names uploaded, but we kind of got the colors and that scheme worked out.
That's good though, because weren't you kind of thinking May was gonna be the time anyways?
May was our
Yeah,
hope,
that's
yeah.
good.
I should have probably told him April in hindsight, I think. But
May's good though.
yeah, and I think once we get in there, we do a lot of our flyers in Canvas, so we're gonna be able to drag and drop it pretty quickly, I think, because they're designing it to work well with Canva. And one of the other communication things we did is, I don't know if you get the Friends of the Library newsletter.
Yep.
We worked with the Friends and they started putting our events in their newsletter. And that was one of their biggest clicking things out of their newsletter. So I think they had a nice look and they worked hard on it. So it's nice to work with them on that newsletter. We've been updating our website and Instagram. We did our support group, so that's another big thing. And then the other thing I wanted to touch base on here, because I think some of you went there, were the Friends and I and maybe some staff are gonna do the May 18th Bonaire Spring Fling. And so we got the table. Friends are gonna have purchased or will purchase like a stress ball that's in the shape of a book, or this read one, or they might buy this one with a heart. There's like giveaways, and I think we had candy last year, so we'd have some candy, some book giveaways, the big summer reading flyer promotion. Then figure out a few other things as we kind of get closer. So if you're around, feel free to stop by. We're gonna be there. I think it's 11 to 2. So just wanted to highlight that. And I think that's the big communication and updates.
And you think that the newsletter will be, it's an e-newsletter.
It'll be an e-newsletter. And the other one you might have saw that we got a lot of noise. I don't know if you got the rec department's guide in the mail.
Mm-mm.
Oh, I should have brought a copy of it. So they had problems distributing it, I think. Some people got it, but we had probably about 5 or 6 in the library, 5 or 6 pages in there, or summer reading was in there, and a few events. And so like even our chair yoga, a few people saw that in there, and it was sold out from that rec flyer. So I think that the rec department's thinking about doing it quarterly, so I think we'll be able to get in there and get that direct mailing will be a nice thing for us to connect to.
That's great. And what's the frequency for our newsletter?
I think I'm gonna start for a month to start, but it might depend what we have for programs. It could be maybe bi-weekly or even weekly. Originally, I was thinking weekly because our book sizzle goes out weekly. So we could do weekly, but I want to maybe start smaller. I want to see what maybe the first one does, and if like a lot of people unsubscribe or.
Is it the same distribution as the sizzle?
It'll be about 3,000 more.
Okay.
Because the book sizzle you had to sign up for, and now as long as you're a library patron, we've opted you in.
Right.
Where book sizzles, you had to go through a process. And also book sizzle right now, we're having problems with it. It's a third-party vendor. It doesn't send, if your address is Outlook or Microsoft, it doesn't get through Microsoft. So the last like 6 or 7 haven't gone to, Outlook or work emails that are within anything like that.
No.
So
Interesting.
that we'll see. I think we might do programs, shortly out. It might because it might depend how much program we do have. Mill Valley does it weekly, but they have a lot of programs. So
I mean, I think the newsletter is awesome. It's
Yeah.
it'd be nice to get in that rhythm and be a big step forward for the comms ambitions.
Yeah, I think one thing from the Friends newsletter people really like, and I think the Commons newsletter, maybe this is where I pull in on you even a little more, is doing like, we have a little tab there for features on people involved with the library. So I can kind of see Friends, board, foundation, volunteers. That's kind of hoping to do like just a quick little profile of folks who people may not know are so involved, because we do have a lot of people involved in supporting this library, so that's another thing, like,
Yeah, it's recognizing the volunteers.
Is it-
Um. Great. Any questions on communications?
We had talked about having a calendar for Larky. It was one of our communication.
Yeah.
Do we have any more thoughts on that? Is Larky going to be on the May 18th? The May 18th?
Larky, I think probably, Larky's invited. If we could find someone who wants to be Larky, it's probably the, question of the month.
I mean, that's the interesting part is we could have like a list of known, volunteers that would give us flexibility on being able to kind of
Yeah, right.
recruit for different dates.
Yes.
And I, kind of approached because of the Redwood teen volunteers, seeing if any of the kids wanted to approach. The other one I'm kind of hoping Larky would go to, and this is kind of jumping ahead probably to May, is when they do at Neil Cummins, the assembly to promote summer reading. That might be another one,
Yeah.
but I think,
That's one of the things that we had talked about, to have some type of calendar of various events where Larky would be invited. And then we have a list to work and dates to work from, and then find Larky inhabitants, animators.
but I could probably work on a more formal list of just. Like now that we have the May 18th, and maybe like the July 4th parade, or just
Yeah.
kind of things, the
What's
part
the,
of Larkspur, or,
what's the time frame of May 18th,
11 to 2. And we got a table and 2 chairs.
Is there an age requirement for Larky?
I
Or
think
a
it's,
height requirement?
I think it's more size.
You have ideas, don't you, Ian?
I do. One in my actual house would be really good.
Well, Larky can make just an appearance, kind of just a grand entrance. It doesn't have.
I
to
could
stay-
probably get
Doesn't get. really-
5'1". Certain blonde in my household.
Yeah.
It would probably do it and be really good.
Yeah, our 5'4" daughter did it one year, so.
Maybe. Yeah.
You could, take it and test it
My
too.
wife's not 5'.
No, so
I remember
We can-
having Mark
or
at
or we
home
can
once.
ask the high schooler.
Yeah,
Just, but I do think that having, it's an eye-catching mascot.
yes.
I think it would be great at that Bon Air Spring.
Like that,
Oh,
yeah,
I'm
with all the
looking at
kids.
Schedule, I'm free.
But if we have a list of, we had talked about Larky at grocery stores, cafes, restaurants. We had talked about having Larky but it's not happening at the Magnolia Fair. I don't know if the wine stroll is absolutely happening. But
Yeah, and honestly, it just the Larky's interactions are like most effective when it's like a quick burst,
Right.
greeting.
Yeah, yeah.
and So
Mysterious.
really, yeah, it just comes in and goes, so especially if it's just like the Bon Air event, it would just be like a,
You're like an hour.
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
even.
Walk around, yeah, and that's not the whole thing.
You can get like
I
the
think it
middle,
gets pretty hot.
high school and
that
middle
cost
school
you.
kids get
yeah.
volunteered.
I did, so that, I did the desk at, last year at Bon Air, and that was a great event for getting a lot of people to come in and participate, and we were kind of, the competition is like there's a lot of interesting things going on, so it's
Well,
cool.
I will tell you that-
Maybe we could have a Larky, a Larky committee or a Larky custodian who would just
Bullpen.
bullpen, yeah,
Larky needs
manager,
Instagram too, their own Instagram.
I can, I
Oh.
mean, I'm not,
That's it.
a Larky manager who would
I-
just have a calendar, have a list of.
Handler.
I do not have the bandwidth to be a Larky, but I can get someone. Whether it's, yeah, I have multiple people I could get for an hour or two on the 18th.
That'd be. good.
Okay, that would be.
I will commit to getting someone.
And I would think that as Larky gets out, more people would be used to seeing Larky and interest would be in, can be put in the newsletter. Are you interested in Larky? Do you want to know more about Larky's private?
We,
And then we snag them in.
But I will get someone, I will commit to that, would be my,
and we have it here if you want to ever have anyone test it too. And we do have Larky in the newsletters, like our little
Yes.
kid symbol
Yeah,
for like the kids event, so that's the visual for the kids
But,
events.
but that's a very effective and simple, or not simple for, the logistics of it, but it's a visual that will mark people. They will see Larky in the street and they will realize that the one thing that I realize that people do not get is that our library is an independent library, that it is separate from the county. And they just don't get it. They just think that all libraries are together and that Corte Madera is its own library, that Larkspur is the same. And it's, I think just Lucky being, will help us separate ourselves from the other library, that we are independent.
And we have a bunch of stickers of Larky too, and bookmarks and that kind of thing, so we can play that up there. Okay,
I'm on it.
all
All
right,
right.
that's, that might be the best item of the meeting. And
Done my
we-
baseball
I'll
game.
try to work on some sort
Of
of
Larky?
event thing for Larky, too, of what we know that
Do,
might be
do
working.
we know when the summer program is being launched at Nam Commons?
Not, yeah, usually they do it with Corte Madera and in May, usually, I would guess.
So if we want Larky, we need to get another Larky in May. For that.
But
we
if
want
we
Larky-
did something like that, yeah.
will they do something similar in at Basage too, or do they ever?
I would guess so. It's kind of it used to be such a yearly regular thing and it got broken up with COVID, so. I think in early May, Teresa's gonna kind of reach out a little bit more and see. They used to go classroom to classroom, then they consolidated it more to one. Big event. I've never actually gone. I just remember Maryland, Maryland going. I've heard so much about it over the years, so.
That all sounds great.
And so,
Love it. Okay. Moving on to building update.
so the building, they've been working on getting the exact placement on the property rights. And that was kind of what they're finalizing, because they want to start the utilities and parking lot in June. So that's still kind of going, but they've also been kind of working on the lights and how that would be concerned for the neighbors. And so that process is kind of still going on. They're kind of getting close. Now they're thinking, because it's a design build, they need to get it kind of as accurate at this phase, so they don't have change orders later. So it's taking a little while, and so right now, I think the current thought's June, it would go to the planning commission for the public comment and feedback. So that's kind of the update. Basically, it's the same design and everything, but just pushing it back and how it fits, how the parking lot will fit, and make sure that neighbors are all comfortable with lighting and that whole setup.
And isn't there a specific date by which some of the work has to be accomplished? If we want to keep that in.
Yeah, we're supposed to be moved in by March of 26. And operational.
Has the city council like thought of groundbreaking hoopla and things like that, or?
Yeah, they were talking about, they definitely will be, and I think that the Commons is gonna lead the shovels.
Great,
And I was talking to Ann last week a little bit about it. And so they have kind of plans. I think they were thinking about doing it for the utilities, then maybe not, maybe waiting. Till the fall would be kind of now when that would groundbreak, but still a few things have to come in place, but I do think they want to do a big. Community awareness event with it.
I should trust Ann and that group to figure that out, they'll know how to do that. And get the biggest splash.
Yeah, because that'll help with some of their fundraising. It's a good fundraising opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think they'll know more a little bit about where people can put their names and other more specific targeted donations for like chairs and that sort of thing.
Great.
And then kind of another just building update, just real quick, is on Friday, I'm gonna go with the Commons and 2 council members. We're gonna go to the Tamalpais. And talk to the residents up there. A little bit about the new building and where we are with that. A few of the folks up there have been, large donors, so we want to get them an update. We do a program up there. We do TED Talks, book clubs, we do a delivery with folks, so we're just, I think, the mayor and I think Councilperson Way is gonna be the person attending. And we'll just be meeting with them and doing like an hour meet and greet presentation about the new building too. Great.
Do they have a shuttle that take them places at the Tamar place?
I think they do, but I'm not 100, I don't know the inner workings.
I'm
there.
only asking because it would be good if we could tell them that we would have a parking spot for them or a specific spot where they can just take the shuttle and have the shuttle be dropping them in that specific right in front of the door, or so that they all know that coming to the library is something that is arranged between the library and the whoever drive or organizes a shuttle, if they have one, so that we can really make them part of the program. If every time there's a program, they have a shuttle and there's a place for them to get off and get on.
That's a good idea. That's part of the, what I think, I hadn't really thought of that, but that's a really good idea. Part of the positioning of the library is to make sure it's more accessible.
Correct.
It's near the door, so. That's a good idea, yeah.
Because I know that some of them still have cars, but it would be so much better if instead of each of them taking their own car to come to here, that there was already some sort of access that is planned. So we should really try for each organization or school that we talk to, just always address not only what we're gonna have there, but how we're gonna come to it. And minimize traffic. In the park, because the parking question will always come back, but everybody is obsessed with it.
Yeah, I think I think that's a good idea. And then the timing of the program makes me, I was gonna also mention, I can't remember if I mentioned this before, but there's gonna be a roundabout into the library down Rose Lane. So it'll be Larkspur's first roundabout.
Right.
But yeah, we do also, as with the school, you want to time that at the right time too for those programs.
Let's make sure we have a statue of Larky in the middle of the roundabout, that way.
With the water feature.
Yeah.
Yield,
And a clock.
yield to the left,
Yeah.
the roundabout, yield to the left.
My donation will be.
I think that's all in the new building. I'll keep you updated. If there is a really significant update, like a plan, I will email the board, let you know too, that this is the new public plan, or, the commission meeting or planning commission meeting with this date or whatever. So I'll do that as soon as I know. So,
All right, that's any other questions on the building? Sorry,
Nope.
no, okay.
Okay.
All right, library budget.
Okay, just want to give you a quick update on our budget. Wednesday, we're going to the council and discussing our initial, each department's gonna discuss our budget. Our budget will be, as Dan said, flat. So it won't be a cut, but it won't be a raise. Yeah, we will have the new person. The other big thing in the budget is we have a new person, but it's not funded, kind of anticipating in the library. City is kind of cautious. Sales tax revenue's been a little lower than anticipated, so that's just not a reason to panic, but it's also being cautious a little bit on how we're spending funds.
How significant is the decline?
I can't really speak to numbers. I'm sure Dan would be able to, but it's been just been down more less. Property tax has been pretty stable. But in November, they started to notice it going down. And then they have a CalPERS, which is our retirement fund obligation. That hasn't fully been worked out, so they have to pay a little bit more into that. And so those two things, sorry, I don't have the exact number. But
So the reduction in sales tax revenue is just in the last quarter, or is it for the whole year?
from the second and third quarter.
Saying it started in November and hasn't covered.
Yeah.
The decline.
And I think that's a trend statewide too, so I don't think it's unique to Larkspur. So that's it, and then I'll be doing a little presentation, kind of featuring our kind of accomplishments. For the past year, and then also a few goals that we'll be doing for the next year for 24-25. So I'm going to talk about like our communication plan. We're going to do a detailed inventory of the library and the collection. We're going to do a patron survey at some point in the next, our fiscal year starts July 1st, I think, do some kind of survey with the patrons, especially once we get the newsletter, get some feedback, what people want to do. And then I think once we're fully staffed, get a consultant to help us with the strategic kind of plan and maybe a SWOT analysis. We did that with the city leaders. And it was pretty good, just to talk with people now that we got our team together. And also just to let you know, back to our budget, one of our big costs is MarinNet, and that's the does the delivery, it pays for our network, it does Link Plus. It's $100,000 of our $900,000 budget. So it's just so that's kind of a big cost, but we get a lot more for that in our services in terms of the books we access. We have a high-speed internet. They got us a grant to upgrade our network for $175,000. That's all the libraries, total was $175,000. So it's really good, but I wasn't sure what level of you would ever be interested in learning more about MarinNet and how it's just structured. I could give like a little talk to you on it if you were interested at some point, or that could be like a little topic and I could give you like a little overview, because it is a big chunk of our budget. It is kind of the backbone of our book system, not so much programming. The San Anselmo librarian just recently did it for their board. They found it interesting. Because I was going to point out per capita spending. So Larkspur per capita spending is $59.87 per person. Now I'll go through the other libraries. Marin County is $129. Belvedere's $279. Mill Valley is $163. San Anselmo is $87 per person. San Rafael $71. Sausalito is $121. So we're much lower budgeted in various reasons because they have parcel taxes and so forth. But we end up getting a lot of value from MarinNet, drawing on those collections from those other libraries. And it might be just of interest how they're structured and what their $2 million budget.
I would definitely be interested in another day to dig in on it, just to learn more.
Yes.
I think it'd be very helpful.
What would be good, it would be useful to know about it, is to know exactly what you just said. How much we pay, what do we get, and what does it represent in the totality of what we do? You just said it doesn't do the programs because it's all internal, then we get a better picture of how do we function and where our ability to function comes from. And it sounds like MarineNet, without it, we're not much.
We would have it would be challenging, because we probably. We'd have to go back to card catalog, or, I mean, we'd buy something, but it would be,
But that's it's a
Challenging.
very important part of how we function, and it's important for us and also for the friends who are raising funds for the day-to-day functioning to know, because for example, that number $59, they can use that as a fundraising number. Just saying, do you want to be a basic aid, just like for the school? Because this is what it costs per person to get our library funded, working. This is what we pay. And knowing more about that, and maybe having the friends be, invited to come at that presentation will give them more tools when they go to the public to raise funds, to just really say, this is what we, you give us $59 and this is what we get. This is what we buy you with that. It's always good to have tangible explanation of why is it we want more money.
yeah, I think.
Probably is good to explain exactly how it is collections, staffing, technical services, all those things that are wrapped from that, but
Our
you
ebooks.
couldn't do ebooks.
Yeah,
You know,
if it wasn't just a,
Is Link Plus within?
Link
that
Plus
too?
is, we pay in for Link Plus, also is a MarineNet
Yes,
service.
and that, yeah, I mean, that's just, there wouldn't be much.
yeah, it could drive home exactly how it is that the library function, and because we pay into it. Yes, it is a free public library, but the money come from somewhere.
Yeah, and it is a big behind the scenes thing,
Right.
and people don't understand it, and. But we spend a lot of time with it, so. And we have to work together as a county, and they had outages this week, or last week, might not have noticed. But they had a little cyber attack. And so they've had to shut off things, but they're the ones who work with when we see something go down, they work with the next level vendors, and, so.
Are Dominican and College Marin part of that still?
Yeah,
Let's
that's,
check in.
so we get the college access, so it really is the whole Marine community with the colleges. Great.
Yeah, it's really important. I think
Okay.
we should have maybe a whole session, a whole meeting do that, and make sure that the other players know about it, because they can use it. I mean, even the commons should come and get to know what is it that they are. I know they're raising money for a building, what's gonna happen, and it will not happen without MarineNet.
And make sure everybody knows that does not, ruin the uniqueness of this library by being, somehow homogenized by being part of the system. It's just totally bonus and extra. and
But it's a
crucial.
tool, it's not really a decision tool, it's just, instead of having to, it's like public transportation, so it's not because, there's a network of public transportation that you can use, that you are limited in where you're going.
But you all want to work together and have a Clipper
Right.
card, so you can all share, make it easy for the end user, and they don't.
No, it's a huge tool, and it should definitely be more understood.
Okay, well, I'll try to work up something, because I've kind of worked a lot of them, they have a lot of budget numbers and data and that sort of thing too, so. I'll try for
Take
that.
notes for future agenda
Okay.
items. Last one, quick question on the budget. Do we anticipate an increase in our costs when the new library location is open?
Yes, kind of a standard, I did a little thing with Dan, a little rough kind of presentation, probably 25% is a kind of a standard, with more water. There'll be things like, we'll have to have the building to, fire code standards, then you have to have, the fire alarm tested. There's a whole series of things like that, so Dan's using the number 25% higher building costs. just to operate the building, not personnel. Than we do now. And it's hard to know because we're in this building.
And what's, like, is there an allocation difference between when that is happening? Like, I'm just wondering, how will we fund the 25% then that isn't possible today to give you another 25%?
I think that'll be something Dan will work on
Yeah.
with me in terms of the full city budget and then carve out, I think he's, planning ahead on future costs, so we did kind of do it, but he'll be the one to kind of identify the funding source along with the council. And I think that's why Dan also wanted to get out there with the personnel, because if we add another person, we'd probably open another day. Just so the council's aware that, opening a new library, there's gonna be new expectations, a few more costs. We will have some cost savings, I think, for efficiencies and in terms of how things maybe move, but probably not a lot. And probably building library will take up a big initial.
25% significant.
Yeah.
Right now, our budget's about 800,000, but it's not as delineated for electrically, our network's separate, but the electrical, water, janitorial, it's all kind of in here a little bit.
So most of the increases in sort of things that are not visible from the library services necessarily, it's just infrastructure back end.
Yeah,
Operating costs,
the-
not the like hours of the library or.
that'll be more personnel to get that.
Maybe.
There'll probably be a few things if you get into the details, but a lot of it will be just having a modern building cost.
Maintenance.
Right.
And at least when you build new, you get those warranties usually for 3 to 5 years on a lot of things. So we won't have to repair stuff.
Right.
So I don't see anyone from Friends Foundation or Commons, but anyone dialed in,
No,
kind of skip.
I would just say that real quick, if you don't mind, on
Yeah.
the Friends. The Friends just did the big, you saw their newsletter, big outreach for families, so they got 5 new members. They're really excited to bring in more people with families
Oh, great.
and kids in there, so they're gonna be a big. They're moving ahead, so that I'll just give a plug for the Friends.
When's the touch truck? In May?
It's not
It's
happening,
not
that was a,
happening.
yeah,
No?
that was kind of declared as the last one.
Oh, really?
Which is
Yeah.
huge.
It was a big undertaking and we didn't think it yielded enough benefit at the end.
I think they had some liability concerns because they did it all without insurance too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just-
Well, they did a great job.
it was really memorable. It was 2 years, I think, for certainly it made a difference for the kids for the last couple of years. Okay, so this was a plug them into that they're trying to bring more family.
They got four new members who have younger families and they live. They live in Kent, some live in Kentfield and
Yeah.
Larkspur, so a little branching out over there, but
Great.
because I think most of their members are over 75, 70.
Yeah.
So this will be an infusion of energy,
Younger.
and they're also looking at trying to do targeted fundraising with if you donate 100 to the Friends, you can pick do you want it to go to collections, programming, support, children's story time. So we're trying to work up some more targeted, because you were mentioning that I'm almost,
That's a great idea.
what's your money get you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get a vote for what you want.
You know what was really good, was the event that was at, at
Inside?
Ian's house, where we had friends and the foundation and board members and,
Community foundations.
Communicate.
Do we have some
Commu-
community
no,
foundations?
Yeah,
yeah,
Larkspur
the
community.
foundation was that too. And that was really good to have a place where everybody could be and briefly say what they were doing. And I know that this is a place where people are supposed to come and say what they're doing. But I really would I know we're focusing on communication, but I think it would be good if we had collaboration with all
I
of
don't
them.
remember when that was.
That's right when you joined.
When they
September
when I
20
first met you,
It's your
or-
birthday. Was that your birthday?
No, it was a nasty rumor, but
Okay.
I'm an August birthday. I
Okay.
think it was September 17th.
Okay.
It was.
It was
really-
September something.
It was really good, and I'm saying that because there's these 4 new members whom it would be good to meet in person, but when we see them in the street, we know that we have that in common, even so,
That's right.
I don't have
I
to.
remember- I remember we did that like early on when they were trying to get everything going. I forget who it is who lives right over the path. Kind of up the hill. They did one over at their house like
Yeah.
a long time ago, and that was like the first time I ever attended anything like that. And it was like really, it was really cool to kind of meet a bunch of people. I think it's a great thing to do at least once a year. Right?
Once,
To just ask them to, maybe one, I don't know if we can do that in one of our meetings, to have our meeting be followed by a meet and greet, or just, our first meeting of I mean, the summer is pretty quiet, but every September, to just really invite them to come and introduce themselves, and then we close the meeting. I'm not sure allowed to do that, but have just donuts from Donut Alley.
I mean, I have a really good friend who's part of like very good friends, like his son and my son are really good friends. But they're very involved in the commons. I could easily get together with him and his wife and host something with them, either in my house or their house, so.
That's important, it's just when we talk about communication, and you know, there is 4 new friends member, and all I know is because I read on on my
What I-
screen about that.
See, I totally agree, and what I liked was everyone, to your point, everyone went around. But then also like you could have a couple of the organizations just give a quick update, like that was, like that was kind of Ann giving like a more broad update and introing Damon, but. I think in the fall is like kind of a perfect time to do it, you can go be
Yeah,
outside.
we did it,
still.
yeah. I think you went right after you left, they went around the room.
No, I was there when we.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I left right after,
All 3
Okay.
of us were together,
yeah,
and that can happen, this is what is supposed to happen at this meeting, that's why we have them listed right here. But they don't come, so we're gonna have to go to them. We just cannot wait for them to show up.
I think it's like, we should be doing that definitely once a year.
the fall, September, October.
I volunteer, I'm volunteering a lot today.
Yeah, you're right.
But these are 2 things I think would be really fun. I'll get with the Ellen's legs and see if they've been interested in doing it. And we could do it with me, you and those 2
Yeah,
in our
Totally.
neighborhood or something.
Yeah.
and collaborate on it.
other gardens,
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could even do it in like the park.
The park.
yeah,
I mean,
Oh,
put like
yeah.
some hors d'oeuvres on the picnic table.
that's a
Yeah, well,
easy,
logistics
that's
of
an
it
easy
is-
collaboration, just divide it.
We could do that in a park.
Yeah.
it would
The
be fun.
logistics is easy. No, it's, the logistics, we can think, the difficulty is to make sure that these people understand that they are welcome and we want to know who they are. We are all working.
Just can you
on-
ask Dan
Yeah.
for some social budget for us for next year?
Yeah. It's a-
Well, we could do it,
Friends.
if we did it in Thunderwood Park, we have all of us who kind of live
Yeah.
in from there. And, you know, it's relatively central to
Yeah, I
town,
mean,
wherever.
We did that 1 year, did the graduation,
We just have
you
to
know,
make sure it's
we
a
did that.
social event.
yeah.
We have to make sure it's a social event.
Social event.
No, yeah, you
Yeah.
bill it, you send out, you just have each group send to their constituents something.
Right, but we can't discuss business.
Correct,
No.
no, it's a social.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I could mention it as I meet with the friends and
Yeah.
foundations over the next couple of weeks. They'll even see the traditional Larkspur Foundation May 1st. You mentioned it to Larry, I don't know.
Here's a question though, could you say that the board, like the Board of Trustees is inviting you to this fall library social mixer or something like that? Can you do something like
Well, I
that?
could say, I think so, I could say you're exploring it. Or you're interested in it.
Or no, I mean,
Yes, I'm
sorry.
talking in terms of just not having meetings that
Yeah.
are not public,
Yeah, exactly,
just following the rule of,
like the Brown Act.
Oh, yeah, the
Yeah.
Brown Act is, honestly, there's something in there that says something, as long as you're social, it's
That's
fine.
right.
Yes, I mean, that's what. it
I
is.
could pull out the text. We just did it at Marinette. We had a social lunch. And it was just, we posted it and said, we're not talking business, and we did.
right, it has to be posted, that we are hosting social.
And I think that's it, right? It's like, what you're doing is just trying to get people to know each other,
Well,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that if we get to know them a little bit and instead of all four groups working in their corners and then we kind of learn from the newsletter when we open it on our computer, what they're doing, there might be more of an incentive to come here and then hash those things together.
Totally,
It's just,
I'm a big advocate of. If we get to know people, and that's a perfect like venue of like, hey, we're not here to talk any business, we're here to. Meet each other, we all have a common interest, and then
Yeah.
you're more likely to say, hey, like, why don't you come to our meeting?
to
Or,
work
Mhm.
together.
right,
yeah.
because now you have at least some familiarity,
Yeah, right.
I think
Yeah.
I'm in on that.
I think for me too, it'd be helpful just to get, because all these support groups. I think are wondering what each of their functions are a little
Yes.
bit, with the foundation friends. And so I think that just helps build them and more cohesion together for them to work together.
I like it.
Yeah, touch trucks was the only time I got to spend time with, friends, and that was a lot of fun, learned a lot, and. But that not happening now, there's really no venue that really brings us together.
It's
other than-
everybody working in their corner
Yeah.
and then for the
Yeah.
same thing, and it's such, we are such a small community.
I
That
do-
we should really take every opportunity to always. I don't say know everybody's business, but to always know what each
Yes.
other's needs and plans are, this way we can.
So I'm wondering if we do actually both, so I think the social thing, as like Andy was saying, just like helps strengthen the bonds and, people get to know each other, trust this, connection there, and then. I'm wondering if we could change instead of a standing agenda item, if we just have like a less frequent but more targeted, sort of like we want the foundations to come and have a venue to interact and actually have a forum to be able to discuss library.
So instead of having them standard at every meeting, just to say, ask them what month is a good month for you to report to us and tell us what you're doing.
And
Each of them.
ideally, we have them collectively together, so
Right.
it gives us an ability to all be the same
Same
place.
word.
Yes.
Yeah,
So we have 1 or 2 meetings a year
I
that are
think
dedicated to,
I think that
To-
just makes so much sense.
yeah, it
Huh?
does, it does.
Right?
Yeah, I
Because
think so.
having like, we get an update, from time to time, but we never have them all here to kind of give an update, like, and it could be a 2-minute update or a 5-minute, but having like back to back to back. I think that would be great.
Yes, update and what their needs are. This way we know what they need, and then we can just coordinate. We hear about one thing, when we make our calendar for Lucky, we can put them in.
I mean, I don't know, we don't need to take it off necessarily, because if they want to come and they have an update.
Yeah, they
Then
definitely should be able to do that.
Definitely.
Which we could make.
Oh,
it-
But a targeted meeting,
Yeah.
a specific month, can you really
Right.
commit to?
I think the
Right.
freedom to like basically know they can come anytime, it's kind of like,
It's- yeah. It's- I
Oh,
do it next
God.
month.
It's, well, it's also, I think if they knew that everyone was gonna be there, that it's an opportunity for them to hear, not just, from us, but the other foundations.
There's also, if we give them kind of a personal, or I don't want to say a summon, but if we ask them to be here at a particular
Yeah.
date, then they know
Yeah.
that we are dedicated to listen to what they have to say. It's not just, oh, if you stop by, I'll listen. It is, I want to know, I need to know. Let's just get. I think it's a great idea.
And also, I'm just curious if there is what is our current feedback forum to the foundations in terms of the updates from you, Damon? Is there like, are you doing those ad hoc and kind of individually, or what's the?
That's probably something to work on and improve. I think it's.
Well, I
And-
mean, I have a
yeah.
recommendation on that. I think it's
Okay.
sort of like, we're trying to increase incentives for this dialogue to happen. Where they wanna come in and participate, and so they're putting all this work, all this fundraising. And it's like, then it's like, look at the follow through is the day-to-day, right, execution and putting those things to work, all the programs, all the services. So I think if without making it too heavy, but if this is happening only a couple times a year, the ability to have like, hey, we have an update for our great volunteers and foundations and all the work that you're doing. And we do like a more formal, update for them, just like, Andy, like we wrote the letter,
Oh, yeah.
right, for the council once a year. We do a couple of formal updates to foundations. Then we invite, sort of like an update from them or communication from them.
Yeah,
It just like it
Yeah.
allows for like a much richer connection
yes.
that, because it's a two-way thing, right? They're doing all this work for us to
Mhm.
deliver something bigger and better and,
We tell them what we did.
right,
Actually, the letter to the council could be sent, or a version of it could be sent to
Oh, yeah.
all three support at the same
Yeah,
time. I
totally.
mean, because whatever we tell the council, we can tell them the very same thing.
I mean. We could probably, I mean, just take I don't know, we could do that, I would think, pretty easily. Since it's
Yeah.
written or,
Yeah, I mean, the strength of this, I mean, not that they're,
Hmm.
I mean, you can also just ask if that's something of
Okay.
interest and, they,
I don't think we ask.
okay.
I think we just tell them we
Yeah.
want to work with them.
Yeah.
And
We want to
I-
hear about it.
I
I
don't
think
make this like this formal update, sort of like putting like a venue where we could do that and bring the collaboration. If they have any feedback on how to structure that.
I'll
Right,
talk to the
yeah.
friends in the commons will be very interested, I think, they'll be, I'll mention it at the May 1st. Larkspur Library Foundation meeting too, and see. They have their quarterly schedule set up. So I'll talk to them. I think the friends and commons will do way. Because I think the last friends meeting, there was 11 or 12 people there,
Wow.
which is extraordinary to have
Wow.
that much support.
Yeah.
I mean, for a friends group for a city the size, it's amazing, actually. I mean, a lot of groups are only 2 or 3. So there's a lot of ideas, a lot of energy.
So that donates, as you say, energy and interest, and we should really seize the opportunity to start having more collaborative way of overseeing the library and all the effort that are made with it. And I think that's part of our role as the library board, is to just be there. We are the linchpin between all of them, and we need to operate as such.
And isn't maybe the greatest idea, but maybe I could start sending them the minutes from the meetings that once are approved, that like.
Yeah.
This
Yes,
is what we talked about, or, just so they can scan it.
yeah, but I think a letter to them
Yeah.
would be more personal, because the minutes, they're official. While if we send a letter saying, this is what we've done with all the hard work all the money you've raised. And then we say, please come to this particular meeting where we can just all talk about it. And as you say, it doesn't have to be more than once or maybe twice a year.
It's perfect timing with planning commission looking at,
Yeah.
the building and. It's ideal. So I hope they don't feel like we're neglecting them ever, but you guys, again, you go to these things. I haven't gone to one of the, commons meetings a long time, although I know Ann, but that's the only person I know on the, so.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I mean, it's getting in the weeds maybe a little bit. I know the friends were talking about going because of vacations and summer. Do you have a time frame? Like, would this be a fall thing, or kind of when it could happen, or?
It might depend on each of the organization, how their calendar works. But I know that the Friends are wrapping up their campaign right now. I don't know when the foundation campaign is.
I was thinking ideally structured around. Like when there would be like for you, where you feel like our peak. Season is for the library, if there's, a couple of those. Post peak is a great time to them. It's like, hey, we just went through our summer programs, and this is like a fall meeting where we talk about summer, and then. Maybe there's a different one that,
Yeah, if I had to say peak to me, it'd be like September, October, and then January or February, March.
so I think post peak is when
Okay,
I would say, hey, we want to talk about this past season, what we changed, what we saw, some community feedback, just like, really market and, It's like, there's no gratitude, like, we put your money to good use. you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
And that's like what they, I mean, they put in all these hours and they're. I think that's very, very gratifying to see the fruit of your labor, like impacting the community. And by the way, I still think we should do the Heather Garden social. I think that's like
Oh,
a.
yeah.
But that's the,
Probably like an
Yeah.
additive, like
Mhm.
bring people together and then we do business.
Send
right?
it business.
When
Yeah.
would you think that should happen?
the what?
The
As
so-
soon
the
as,
social
as soon as we
aspect
can
of
get
it.
the groups, right?
I think like a.
Yeah.
Mid-September social,
Sounds good.
weather's still
Back to
nice.
school and, you know, football season starting.
That would coincide with any kind of groundbreaking thing they'd be doing at some point with the new building too, so.
Yeah, you would
Little
probably
before.
know the plan for sure by September, I would guess.
So there should
Yeah, I
be a
love
lot of
that. September would
enthusiasm
be-
to get everybody together.
Everybody-
If you want
Everybody's
someone
fired
to
up.
plan social where there's no business done, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
So there'll be a social in September, and when will you envision the business meeting, when we ask, the meeting, when we ask everybody to come and report, will be September as well?
I think it's the post, what, so he said the peaks were spring and fall, right? So
Yeah,
we do
maybe
one-
October.
October,
October.
after the social.
Yeah.
First we
Yeah.
socialize, we get to.
That's
Yeah.
right,
know
first
each
we
other.
socialize, then we
Yeah,
do
then get to
business.
the
Yeah,
social.
yeah,
First. The important part first.
Sounds really good.
okay, awesome.
Take some
All right.
pictures too.
Great idea.
I should have just real quick, also, when you said to highlight what they were doing, we started to try to really be more conscientious of taking photos. And sending those to the friends, so they get gratification for what they're.
You know,
do.
my thing is like, I would try to basically like, if you have like a stream of transactional. You know, where like you're sending real time up, like so you put Instagram updates, photo updates, you know, emails, etc. And then there's like the collection, you know, like bringing it all together and you're like, you walk that through a season, has a very different kind of impact. Right,
Yeah, cause I was thinking like in here, if you had something like that, just even the photos on a screen going, was the year of what
Yeah.
was
it's
achieved.
like a real approach, we just add it all up and ideally we have some numbers to show and. It's, I think it'll be really neat. Okay, future agenda items.
Marinette,
Learn that overview,
Staff update.
staff update, hopefully good one.
was that?
And then I'll work on a rough calendar.
Yeah.
For Larky, but I think it would also be just events.
Yeah,
You know, if
events.
Larky doesn't make
No,
it.
We
Yeah,
have events.
That's,
Yeah, I think events and I think maybe to Armel's point, if we can find sort of like a Larky manager pool of people we can draw from, it'll just make Larky a lot more accessible and, you know, it's just, it's a lot to ask. I know, like of one person to go, it's
Yeah.
quite a bit,
Yeah.
especially summertime.
Yes,
Like
hot.
they need to, we need to recognize summer Larkies a lot more.
But if we had a calendar of opportunities, from those opportunities, depending on where they occur.
Yeah.
It might be, for example, if we want Larky to go to the retirement home, then we can find somebody who is at ease in this situation. Then if we going to Nell Camin, it's gonna be a different type of person. Different hours, different time, different location. So once we have the different opportunities where you will be and Larky could be with you, then we can start thinking of what type of, what
Yeah.
type of Larky do we need?
Yeah, and don't forget, you also have a handler, so we just like fix two people to
Correct,
run
yes.
the day, so.
Well, let's start with a list of
Yeah,
opportunities. and
But
then
but
we
I think
can match.
in one of the meetings, I think we can figure out if somebody can find a manager. We'll, this will be a lot easier. I do think there'll be to Andy's point, it will take some bandwidth, like to find a pool of people,
Right,
coordinate,
Yeah.
it's like you need to team snap it, you
Correct.
know?
yeah,
Um,
but let's start with a list of opportunities and then pick the one that would have the most bang for our buck, and then we go from there.
Right. Okay. Any other agenda items, proposed agenda items? All right, next meeting date.
If you kept your regular schedule, it would be the second Monday, May 13th.
I'm here.
That works for me.
I should be here, yeah.
Well, we have a quorum, that's good, I don't think,
Well,
May 13th, yeah,
are you gone for the week or just that day?
just, well. Tough week. But,
What about, I mean, would you guys want? I could do Thursday that week too. It's Thursday.
Well, there's probably just is a room available.
yeah,
And it's,
I think that Thursday would be the rec department potentially, they're usually,
Oh,
That's right.
Third
okay, so
Thursday.
room is booked on different days.
oh, I'm sorry, rec department's third Thursday.
I can't do this.
that would be.
But I'd have to check.
that-
Oh, okay.
Okay.
never mind,
I'd
never
have to
mind.
check.
That would be the
propose-
third Thursday.
Yeah.
The 17th.
Proposal with.
So, oh, you are, right.
I think we should keep it, see if Jonathan's here, and we at least have 4.
Okay,
so, see,
May is a mess.
okay.
Meg is busy.
March was a mess for me.
It's May 18th though. When I hand the Larky, it's not a mess after a while.
Nice.
So, tentatively try for May 13th and then
Yep.
just see when we get closer what
Yes,
who's around. Okay.
sounds great. Okay,
Make a motion to adjourn.
yes,
I'll make one.
thank you.
My second.
Aye,
Aye.
Yeah, I-
all right, thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
we use this little Little League app. It's not a Little